Hi. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the very beginning of my life with anxiety. I started having anxiety from a very young age. And one of the reasons why is I have a condition called hyperhidrosis. And this condition sucks. It is pretty much where you have overactive sweat glands, and so you sweat profusely. My main area is my armpits, and this condition started pretty much when puberty started. I believe it was 5th grade. I'm pretty sure it was 5th grade, and I remember distinctly the first incident I had was we were having silent reading time in the classroom, and I was sitting like this, reading my book on my desk, and I was sweating. I had a white shirt on. I believe it was a SpongeBob shirt, and around like the collar and the sleeves there was a yellow band. I remember that distinctly. And there were a couple girls sitting on the floor. So I was in my desk and there was a couple girls sitting on the floor. And excuse me. And I remember them like snickering and kind of talking because I was sweating profusely. So that kind of really kick-started my anxiety. It already runs in my family. Generations of anxiety and depression and everything. However, this condition just makes it so much worse. And I'm going to do a separate video on that, but this one is pretty much my early years with anxiety. So 5th grade, puberty, hyperhidrosis is kind of when it started. I wasn't, I didn't really get worked up. I didn't really, I didn't kind of really know. But I was worried. Like, there's nothing like getting insulted by your peers to make you feel like total crap. So, awesome. Yeah. And so 6th grade rolls around and I got back in connection with one of my childhood friends, my childhood best friend, and she was really into metal, well, not really metal, but emo music and concerts and watching music videos and finding people to talk to on the internet, MySpace, all that kind of stuff. So that kind of introduced me to the kind of goth scene, and it goes hand in hand with my anxiety and hyperhidrosis because wearing black, you can't see sweat as much in black. So I started wearing black trip pants, if anybody remembers those puppies. And that was probably my 6th grade experience. And I love that best friend. I do not regret any of the stuff we did, really. I still love her to this day. I wish we would kind of connect more because we were definitely partners in crime for too many years. 7th grade really was when the anxiety really got, like, truly started, I also, with the anxiety, kind of got into more of a depression. My mom got really sick and was hospitalized. She actually physically died, and she was in the hospital for like half of my 6th grade year. And it was just me and my brother at home, and it was tough. It really was tough. I had to grow up. My mom wasn't there. It was just me and my brother and the dog. I had to get myself up. I had to get myself to school. Sorry for the light. The sun is coming up, so it's probably a bad spot to do this video, but whatever. And that was hard, not having my mom and knowing that she was in a hospital, and my brother didn't have his license yet. We couldn't see her. We only saw her once or twice in that couple of months, which is nuts. So yeah, going into like 7th grade, the anxiety, the actual anxiety and depression was like, whew. And that's the point in time where I started cutting, and I cried all the time, and it was just not good. But I masked it. I didn't tell anyone except for one of my best friends. I just hid it and put a smile on and continued with the work. And oh gosh. And so I want to see all that junk in the background. And so 8th grade is kind of just an extension of what 7th grade was for me. The anxiety and just kind of living life and cutting and whatever. But that's the year I met Jordan. So that was different. He knew about everything. And around that time frame, I also suffered with some anorexia. I was really overweight from like 2nd grade to 8th grade when I stopped eating, and I got really sick, and it was scary. My stomach was like in knots, and yeah, not fun. So high school. Everybody's been there, done that. Not fun. So since my mom was really sick, she got really sick, she couldn't work. So I started working as soon as I was in high school. Oh, sorry. There's nothing to kickstart anxiety than having to deal with high school clubs, activities, and working. I worked just a block away from my house, so I had to check on see. And I started work before it was even legal for me to work. But all through high school, I worked at the same place. I worked and right after school till 10, 11 o'clock at night, went home, did homework for how many ever hours. So high school is when my true anxiety, like panic attack, sweating, like nervous sweating actually really started. And I stopped cutting in high school, but that was hard. That was a whole thing with Jordan. But I don't know. It was just a really hard time. There was also a period over a summer where I was really depressed, like couldn't get out of bed depressed, and my group of best friends thought that I was just ignoring them, and they stopped talking to me. They kind of made a pact almost and stopped talking to me, and I was like, okay, so towards the end of the summer I was like, okay, what's going on? And then I found out through my brother, one of them had talked to my brother, that they thought I was just being a bitch and ignoring them and not talking to them. And so that kind of ended my whole best friend. So kind of the last part of high school, I only had two best friends, and Rebecca and Carolyn. I love those girls. And they're still my best friends to this day, so that's how you know they're awesome. High school with anxiety. I was pretty much constantly on edge. Like all the time, my heart would like race, and it made a lot of things really difficult. Really difficult for me. But you just have to soldier on and get through it. And that's also when I started medication. It was towards the end of high school and kind of like the start of college. I think that's going to be a whole separate video, because I've had some trial and error with anxiety and depression medication that hasn't been necessarily a good experience. So I think that's going to be totally separate. But anywho, this was the start of my life with anxiety. So I hope you kind of learned something, or if you're going through the same thing, please feel free to reach out. Definitely, of course. And if you're in a bad situation, if you're thinking about killing yourself or anything like that, please reach out. You can email me or you can call the National Helpline. Just don't suffer alone. Get some help.